Hello everyone, and today is the first day of our week of prayer and fasting. Every day a different person or people will be preparing devotionals like this to kickstart our day and to help our focus in prayer. Each day these devotionals will focus on a particular faith-centered verse from the Bible. Faith-centered because our theme this week is indeed faith. So today I have the privilege of kicking us off, and we are in Hebrews chapter 11, verses 5 and 6. Let me just read that for you. By faith, Enoch was taken up so that he should not see death, and he was not found because God took him up. For he obtained the witness that before his being taken up, he was pleasing to God. And without faith, it is impossible to please him. For he who comes to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of those who seek him. So today's verse focuses really on verse 6. Without faith, it's impossible to please God. But this is inescapably in the context of a man named Enoch. Now, the Bible does not tell us a great deal about Enoch. We find really in Genesis 5, verse 23 and 24, all that we're given. Verse 24 of Genesis 5 in the New Living Translation says, walking in close fellowship with God, then one day he disappeared because God took him. Then he comes up again in Hebrews 11, and we're told the reason God took him and he didn't see death was that he pleased God. So we've got this combination of he walked with God closely, he pleased God, and by faith, that's how he pleased God. So we've got to pull these three things together today. It does occur to me, though, what a great thing to be said of someone, that they pleased God, that they walked with God. That's a great epitaph. I wonder what you would like said of your life when you leave these shores. What short phrase or sentence or summary would you like to be said of you? Imagine written in your obituary was the phrase, this person pleased God. Imagine that being engraved on your gravestone. That would be pretty awesome. It's a great thing to be said of someone, that they pleased God. He walked with God and he pleased God. I've read a number of commentators, I've heard this said over many years, that Enoch's relationship with God was so close, so real, so intimate, so pure, that God couldn't bear any degree of separation from him anymore, and so he simply took him to be with himself. I love that sense. I love that possibility here. But Enoch's walk with God was that which pleased him, and the writer of Hebrews says that that was all of faith. That was only enabled by faith. A faith-enabled walk with God is that which truly pleases him. A walk with God, the one we keep pace with, the one who brings direction, the one who leads the way, the one who is accompanying us always. That walk is by faith, and it draws us close to God. It causes us to know this sense of dependency on him, following him, obeying him completely, surrendering to him totally, serving him faithfully. And all of these things are what brings the most incredible pleasure to the Lord, and it's all by faith. Faith is the means by which we draw near. Faith is the means by which we know him. Faith is the means by which we relate to him and walk with him in life. It made me think a little bit in the context of marriage. I think in the marriage prep we underwent, the marriage prep we've always done with other people, there's always a conversation about what are the most important ingredients of marriage. And invariably, the one that comes out very quickly is communication. And it's absolutely right. You've got to be able to communicate well. But I think probably more fundamental than communication is trust. If you can't trust your spouse, then the very foundations of that marriage relationship are already creaking. And on its most basic level, faith has a lot to do with trust. And if we understood that to be the case, then this verse makes sense, because if we could please God without faith, then what we're saying is we can please God without trusting him. And if you've ever had anyone distrust you, anyone you've helped a lot, and yet for some reason they distrust you, that's quite painful. It's the opposite of pleasure, actually. And when you think about how much God has loved us, how much he loves us still, how much he's done for us, how much he does for us, how much he helps us, how much he is for us, sending his son to die for us, And if after God has done all these things, we still don't trust him, then how can we please him? And if we still don't believe in his existence or that he rewards those who seek him, then how on earth can we ever please God? And I want to encourage you today, you can trust him. Trust has really to do with the integrity of the person you are trusting, their reputation, their character, their ability. And when you fail to trust someone, you question those characteristics. And when we fail to trust God with our lives, then we are in effect questioning his integrity, his reputation, his word, his character, his ability, his power, and none of that makes sense. And so without trust, without faith, how can there be any substantive relationship with God? And it's only in the place of relationship, walking with God, that we truly please him. You see, none of us can earn our approval before God by our own efforts, by the things we do. It's not our works that bring pleasure to God. It's our relationship with him. It's our walk with him. And that only happens by faith. Romans 8 verse 8 says, those who are in the flesh cannot please God. So we can't please him by our fleshly efforts. Only that which is by faith brings pleasure to him. That which is born out of that faith-centered relationship with and walk with him. That's based in who he is, based in all he's done, based in all he says. That's where he is pleased. Faith is to be the habitat within which the Christian's life is lived. It's by faith that the Christian life begins. It's by faith that it continues every day. And it's by faith that it will be eternally encountered. This kind of walking by faith, where we accept as truth the things we can't see, the things we can't touch, the things we can't feel, but the things that are of him, and then we act in obedience with them, that's how we please the Lord. It brought to my mind a picture of the Eden Project. Some of you have probably been there. These big biospheres that are built, created environments within which certain plant life can grow and live and thrive and be productive. And so the temperature, the heat, the humidity, the moisture, the breeze, or the conditions, everything is orchestrated and fixed and set so that the life within it can grow. And faith is intended to be the environment for the Christian within which we grow. Faith is to be the atmosphere in which we live. Faith is to be the means by which our walk with the Lord is cultivated to become all it's meant to be. Faith is the habitat in which we as Christians are to live. It's where we best grow. It's where we best thrive. It's where we're most productive. It's where we're most effective. It's where we become everything we were ever designed, created, and made to be. It's in and by faith that we truly know him, that we can truly please him. Nothing pleases God more than a life that is centered, founded, and focused on him. And that can only happen by faith. Nothing pleases him more than a life that honors him in everything. And it's only by faith that we are able to do that. Nothing pleases the Lord more than seeking and prioritizing him above everything else, taking him at his word and trusting him implicitly. And that takes genuine, real faith. Nothing pleases the Lord more than our obeying his will, his word, his ways, and all of that will take faith. And so in faith, we don't strive to get good marks from God for our performance in life. That's not what it's about. That in faith and by faith, we are enabled to walk with God, to know this relational connection with him that we don't, not one we work hard for to try and get into his good books, but one that he makes possible and then welcomes us into that space with him. And in that place, walking with him, aligning the whole of our lives with him, in that habitat of faith, we bring him great pleasure. So today, let us be a faith-filled people who know their God, who walk with him, and who please him in every way. Let me encourage you, pray into these things, reflect on these things, and look to the Lord in these things today, and may he richly, richly bless you. Amen.